Hey everyone, before we dive into this wild story, please hit that subscribe button and join our community. Your support means the world, and it keeps us sharing these incredible tales. Now, let's get into it. It started like any other morning, sipping coffee at my kitchen table. My phone buzzed with a notification from my bank, unusual activity on my account. I frowned, thinking it was a glitch, but my gut told me something was wrong. Logging in, I found my password didn't work. My heart sank as I tried again, each attempt failing. A chill ran through me when I saw an email from an unfamiliar address. It was a hacker, taunting me with details only I should know. They had my password, my social media, my life. I called the bank, but they said the account was accessed legally. My identity was slipping away, and I was powerless. I stared at my kids' photos on the fridge, unaware of how this would spiral. The hacker had already changed my email passwords. I couldn't access my own accounts. Panic set in as I realized how deep this went. This wasn't just about money, it was personal. I spent hours on the phone with tech support, trying to regain control. Every call ended with, "We'll escalate this," but nothing changed. The hacker was using my identity to email my friends, asking for money. My best friend called, confused, saying I'd sent her a desperate plea. I hadn't. My social media was posting things I'd never write, political rants, strange ads. My kids, Emma and Liam, noticed the weird posts too. They laughed it off at first, thinking I was pranked. But when I told them it wasn't me, they looked skeptical. I showed them the locked accounts, but doubt lingered in their eyes. The hacker had my voice, my style, my life. I felt like I was screaming into a void. How could I prove I was me? My own kids were starting to question it. The next day, things got worse. My credit cards were maxed out. The hacker bought electronics, plane tickets, even a car in my name. I filed a police report, but they said cybercrime takes time. Time I didn't have. My bank account was drained, and bills were piling up. I tried explaining to Emma and Liam, but they were distant. "Mom, why don't you just fix it?" Liam asked, frustrated. I wanted to scream that I was trying. The hacker sent messages from my phone number, convincing my kids I was acting strange. Emma asked if I was having a breakdown. My heart broke. My own children didn't believe me. I found a cybersecurity expert, but the cost was astronomical. I was fighting a ghost with my own face. I started noticing small changes in my digital life, like deleted emails. The hacker was erasing my memories, my work, my connections. I couldn't log into my work portal, and my boss called, furious about missed deadlines. I explained the situation, but he was skeptical too. "How do I know it's really you?" he asked. I was losing my job, my savings, my identity. My kids overheard the call and exchanged looks. They started whispering when I entered the room. I found a note from Emma. "Is Mom okay?" I cried myself to sleep that night. The hacker was winning, and I was fading away. I needed a plan, but where to start? I felt like a stranger in my own life. I hired a private investigator who specialized in cybercrime. His name was Mark, and he was my last hope. He warned me that identity theft cases were tough, especially with kids involved. The hacker had access to my cloud, with years of family photos and videos. They started posting old pictures, captioning them with lies. My friends stopped calling, thinking I was unstable. Emma and Liam were embarrassed, avoiding me at home. I showed Mark the taunting emails from the hacker. He traced the IP, but it led to a dead end overseas. I felt helpless, but Mark urged me to keep fighting. I started documenting everything, every email, every post. My kids saw me working late and asked, "Why don't you give up?" I couldn't. This was my life. The hacker escalated, sending messages to my kids' school. They claimed I was unfit, citing fake mental health issues. The school called me in, and I had to explain to a skeptical principal. Emma and Liam were pulled from class, confused and scared. They asked why I was acting weird online. I tried to tell them it wasn't me, but their trust was fading. I showed them Mark's findings, but they didn't understand. "Why can't you stop it, Mom?" Emma cried. I felt like I was losing them. Mark suggested setting up new accounts with tight security. I did, but the hacker was always one step ahead. My old life was being rewritten, and I was the villain. I started getting strange looks from neighbors. The hacker posted in our community group, claiming I was moving away. People stopped by with sympathy, thinking I was in trouble. I tried to explain, but the story sounded insane. My kids overheard these conversations and grew more distant. Liam asked if we were really moving. I reassured him, but his eyes said he didn't believe me. Mark found a pattern in the hacker's activity, late-night logins from random locations. We set a trap, creating a fake account to lure them. It didn't work. They were too smart. I was running out of money and hope. My kids were slipping away, and I was alone. One night, I found Emma crying in her room. She showed me a message from me, saying I didn't love her. My heart shattered. I'd never say that. I hugged her, but she pulled away, unsure. Liam was angry, saying I was letting this ruin our family. I showed them the police reports, the emails, but they were kids. They wanted their mom, not proof. Mark suggested a public statement to clear my name. I posted on a new social media account, explaining the theft. Some friends believed me, but others thought it was a stunt. The hacker countered with a fake apology from me. My kids saw it and doubted me more. I was fighting a losing battle. I started retracing my steps, thinking how the hacker got in. I remembered a phishing email I'd clicked months ago. It seemed harmless, but it was the key to my life. Mark confirmed it was likely the entry point. He taught me about two-factor authentication, but it was too late. The hacker had my social security number, my driver's license, everything. They opened new accounts in my name, racking up debt. I froze my credit, but the damage was done. Emma and Liam were barely speaking to me. They thought I was incompetent, unable to fix this. I felt like a failure as a mom. Mark kept digging, but the hacker was a shadow, untouchable. The breaking point came when the hacker called my kids. They used a voice modulator to sound like me, telling Emma and Liam I was leaving them. They were devastated, believing it was true. I found them packing bags, thinking I didn't want them. I broke down, begging them to listen. I showed them every document, every email from Mark. They hesitated but agreed to give me a chance. Mark found a lead, a forum where hackers bragged about their crimes. My case was there, a trophy for someone named Phantom. I felt a spark of hope. We had a name, a clue. Maybe I could take my life back. Mark and I dove into the dark web, chasing Phantom's trail. It was terrifying. Posts about my life, my kids, my secrets. Phantom was selling my data, piece by piece. I felt violated, exposed. Mark warned me not to engage, but I was desperate. I messaged Phantom, pleading for my life back. They laughed, sending me a photo of my kids at school. My blood ran cold. How did they know? I kept this from Emma and Liam, not wanting to scare them. Mark reported it to the FBI, but they needed more evidence. I started recording every interaction, building a case. My kids noticed my late nights and asked if I was okay. I lied, saying I was fixing it. I wasn't. Phantom upped the ante, locking me out of my home security system. My cameras showed someone watching my house at night. I called the police, but they found nothing. Emma and Liam were terrified, refusing to sleep alone. I installed new locks, but the fear lingered. Mark traced Phantom's posts to a VPN, but it was another dead end. I started teaching my kids about online safety, hoping to protect them. They listened but still doubted me. Why does this keep happening, Mom? Liam asked. I had no answer. My savings were gone, and I was borrowing money to survive. Phantom was destroying me, and my kids were collateral damage. I decided to go public, contacting a local news station. They ran a story about my identity theft, and support poured in. But so did the trolls, calling me a liar. Phantom hacked the news site, posting a fake retraction. My kids saw it and asked if I'd made it all up. I showed them Mark's evidence, but their trust was fragile. The community rallied, offering help, but I felt exposed. Phantom sent me a message, "Stop, or your kids are next." I froze, terrified for Emma and Liam. Mark urged me to keep going, saying fear was what Phantom wanted. I couldn't give up, not now. I had to protect my family. Mark found a new lead, a sloppy login from a local IP. Phantom wasn't as careful as they thought. We traced it to a nearby city, and the FBI got involved. They warned me it could take weeks, but it was progress. I told Emma and Liam we were close to catching the hacker. They nodded but didn't believe me. I started leaving notes for them, reminding them I was their mom. They read them but stayed distant. Phantom kept posting, now targeting my kids' friends. Emma lost her best friend over a fake message. I was furious, but Mark said anger wouldn't help. We needed evidence, not emotion. I focused on the case, praying for a breakthrough. The FBI found a suspect, a young man in his 20s, known for hacking. They couldn't arrest him yet, but they were watching. I felt a mix of relief and rage. Phantom wasn't a ghost. He was real. I kept this for my kids, not wanting to raise false hopes. Mark and I monitored his online activity, waiting for a slip-up. Phantom slowed down, sensing the heat. My accounts were still locked, but the taunting emails stopped. Emma and Liam started talking to me more, noticing my determination. I showed them small wins, like recovering an old email. They smiled, but the doubt lingered. I needed to end this for them. One night, Phantom made a mistake. He logged into my bank account without a VPN. The FBI traced it to his apartment. They raided it, finding laptops full of stolen data, mine included. Phantom was arrested, and I cried with relief. I told Emma and Liam, expecting joy, but they were cautious. Is it really over, Mom? Emma asked. I promised it was, but I wasn't sure. The FBI recovered some of my accounts, but the damage was done. My credit was ruined, my job gone. My kids were warming up, but the scars remained. I started rebuilding, step by step. It wasn't easy, but I had hope. The trial was months away, but the FBI had strong evidence. Phantom's real name was Ethan, a college dropout with a grudge. He'd targeted me randomly, for sport. I hated him, but I pitied him too. My kids wanted to know why he chose me. I didn't have an answer. We started family therapy, trying to heal. Emma and Liam opened up about their fear, their doubt. I listened, promising to be better. Mark helped me secure my accounts with new passwords, new systems. I was paranoid, checking everything twice. My kids noticed and started helping, learning about cybersecurity. We were becoming a team again. I got a new job, but the pay was lower. Money was tight, but we managed. The community helped, donating to a fund for my recovery. I was humbled, grateful. Emma and Liam started trusting me again, seeing my effort. We made a pact. No more secrets. I showed them every step of my rebuilding process. Phantom's trial was approaching, and I was called to testify. I was nervous but ready. My kids asked to come, wanting closure. I agreed, knowing it would help them heal. Mark prepared me, saying Ethan might plea out. I didn't care. I wanted justice. My family deserved it. The trial was intense. Ethan sat there, smirking, as I told my story. I described the fear, the loss, the pain of my kids' doubt. The jury listened, and I felt strong. Emma and Liam were in the courtroom, watching. They saw me fight, and their eyes softened. Ethan's lawyer tried to blame me for weak passwords, but the evidence was overwhelming. The jury deliberated for hours, and we waited. My kids held my hands, a small sign of trust. The verdict came, guilty on all counts. I exhaled, tears streaming. Emma hugged me, whispering, "I'm sorry I doubted you." Liam nodded, and I felt whole again. After the trial, we went home, closer than ever. The hacker was gone, but the scars remained. I worked hard to rebuild my credit, my life. My kids helped, checking my accounts with me. We laughed more, talked more. I started a blog about my experience, warning others about identity theft. It gained traction, and people shared their stories. I felt a purpose, a way to turn pain into strength. Emma and Liam were proud, calling me Super Mom. Mark stayed in touch, helping with security tips. The nightmare was over, but it changed us. We were stronger, together. Rebuilding my digital life was a slow process, but I was meticulous. Every account got new, complex passwords and two-factor authentication. Mark taught me how to spot phishing emails, and I shared the knowledge with my kids. Emma and Liam were now vigilant, checking their own accounts. We made it a family habit, turning a nightmare into a lesson. My blog grew, and I started speaking at local events about cybersecurity. People listened, inspired by my story. My kids came to one talk, beaming with pride. I wasn't just their mom anymore. I was a survivor. The hacker had taken so much, but I was taking it back. Every step felt like a victory. The financial recovery was tougher. My credit score was a mess, and debt collectors called daily. I worked with a financial advisor to dispute the fraudulent charges. Slowly, some debts were cleared, but it was a grind. Emma and Liam helped by cutting back on extras, like new clothes or games. They never complained, and it broke my heart but made me proud. I started a side hustle, writing about cybersecurity for small businesses. It brought in extra cash and purpose. My kids saw me hustle, and it rebuilt their trust. We were a team, facing the aftermath together. The hacker's shadow was fading. One day, Emma came home with a school project on internet safety. She asked for my help, calling me an expert. I laughed, but it felt good. We worked together, creating a presentation that wowed her class. Liam joined in, adding tips he'd learned from Mark. It was a bonding moment, a sign we were healing. My blog readers sent messages, thanking me for saving them from scams. I realized my pain was helping others. The kids started calling me Mom, the hero. It was a joke, but it meant everything. We were rebuilding not just my life, but our family's strength. The community fund helped pay for therapy, and it made a difference. Emma and Liam opened up about their fear of losing me. I admitted my own fears, and we cried together. It wasn't just the hacker, it was the doubt, the distance. We set new rules: open communication, no assumptions. I shared every step of my recovery, from credit disputes to new security measures. The kids helped monitor my accounts, and we made it a game. My blog got picked up by a major outlet, and I was offered a column. It wasn't much money, but it was validation. We were moving forward, together. A year after the trial, I got a call from the FBI. Ethan was sentenced to 7 years, and my data was secured. It wasn't enough, but it was closure. I told Emma and Liam, and they hugged me tight. "We're proud of you, Mom," Liam said. I cried, knowing their trust was back. My blog was now a platform for others to share their stories. I started a support group for identity theft victims, and it grew fast. My kids helped moderate it, learning empathy and strength. We were a family again, stronger than ever. The hacker had lost, and we had won. My new job gave me flexibility, and I spent more time with Emma and Liam. We started family nights, no phones, just us. We talked about everything: school, dreams, fears. I shared my blog posts, and they gave feedback. Emma suggested a podcast, and we started planning it. Liam designed the logo, and it felt like a family project. My column was gaining traction, and I was invited to speak at a national conference. The kids cheered me on, calling it my big break. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was thriving. The hacker's shadow was gone. The conference was a turning point. I spoke to hundreds, sharing my story of loss and recovery. Emma and Liam watched online, texting me hearts. The audience asked questions, and I felt like an expert. My blog readers showed up, thanking me in person. I realized I'd built a community from my pain. Back home, we celebrated with pizza and ice cream. The kids said they were proud to call me Mom. I started writing a book, detailing my journey. Emma and Liam contributed chapters, sharing their perspective. It was our story, not just mine. We were healing together. The book deal came through, a small publisher but a big win. I dedicated it to Emma and Liam, my reason to fight. They read the draft and cried, saying they never knew how hard it was. We talked for hours, closer than ever. My support group grew, and I trained others to lead it. My kids helped with outreach, designing flyers. The podcast launched, and we recorded our first episode as a family. It was raw, real, and people loved it. I was no longer defined by the hacker. I was a mom, a writer, a survivor. My kids believed in me, and I believed in myself. 2 years later, my life was transformed. The debts were mostly cleared, my credit improving. The book was a modest hit, and the podcast was growing. Emma and Liam were thriving, teaching their friends about cybersecurity. We still checked our accounts together, a ritual that kept us close. My talks were booked months in advance, and I was helping others rebuild. The kids started their own projects, inspired by our journey. I looked at them and saw strength, love, trust. The hacker had tried to break us, but we were unbreakable. My identity was mine again, and so was my family. Looking back, I see how far we've come. The hacker stole my password, my identity, my kids' trust. But I fought back, with Mark, the FBI, and my own grit. Emma and Liam doubted me, but they learned I'd never give up. We rebuilt our lives, stronger, closer. My story inspired others, and my kids became my partners. The nightmare taught us resilience, love, trust. I'm not just a victim. I'm a survivor, a mom, a voice. If you're facing this, know you're not alone. Keep fighting, keep proving who you are. You'll come out stronger like we did. My kids believe in me now, and that's my greatest win. Thanks for listening to my story. Please subscribe to the channel for more. Your support helps us keep sharing these journeys. Hit that button, and let's stay connected.